Okay, I know the quality doesn't look great on I shot my ring light by Sunday. Don't mind my eye, by the way. Yeah, it was just something I was trying out. I was trying out a cut crease. I also now know I'm actually not that bad at cut creases, so I'm probably gonna do it for my graduation in a few days. So yeah, basically this is gonna be like the first part of the makeup series. I didn't tell you what it was about though. So I need to. It's burning my eyebrows now. That's because it says Okyo on it. Technically, this shouldn't be around my eye, but I don't want to go wash my face off right now. So yeah. So okay, now I can do the first part of that video. So basically, how to do like this is a step by step. How do I say this? I'm so stupid. No, like makeup basic things. That's basically just what this is. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I'm doing light coverage in this video, but I will explain what you do and do full coverage too, because I brought my light coverage stuff with me. I didn't really bring full coverage stuff. So yeah, so first off, you don't want to have anything on your face when you first do your makeup. You want to clean it. You want to make sure to clean your face, but you also want to do your skincare. So I just cleaned mine. I use Noxzema pads. Thing is, they're not very good if you have sensitive skin. So I don't recommend. So I wouldn't recommend using that if you have sensitive skin. Now, something I do sometimes, not all the time, is if I'm breaking out a lot, I'll put this on my breakout. Just benzoyl peroxide, however you can pronounce that. Thing is though, sometimes it can pill under your makeup depending what kind you have. So I don't really recommend doing that. So if you want to do a toner or something, you can. When I do my makeup, I don't use a whole lot. I use I don't have it with me. I use this vitamin C serum and then my moisturizer, but all I have right now is my moisturizer. Now, almost any moisturizer will work in my opinion. I don't think you have to be super picky with your moisturizers unless you know you have like sensitive skin or whatever. Like that's about it. In my opinion, almost all moisturizers work the same. I'm not like a beautician or esthetician, whatever the heck that word is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, I am obviously not one of those. I'm 18, my baby. But yeah, right now I'm just moisturizing, and then moisturizing, you always want to moisturize when you put on makeup. Even if you're just putting like on eyeliner, just moisturize. Because then it makes sure your skin's not drying out, and also if you do still moisturize, your makeup's always gonna lay on smoother. Even if you're doing a super light makeup, even if you're doing full coverage makeup, I would just moisturize. Moisturizing is always helpful. So I have two good examples of primers. I have one matte one and one dewy one with me. I think I'm using my dewy one today, but here's a good matte one. This brand itself actually has a lot of good primers. My hands are sweating now. Crap. Got it. Okay, so this is a good matte primer. This is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. It's really good for it fills in your pores. That's it. Glaze your pores. I have two of these. Really like it. This kind of texture of it. Now you don't want to just like harshly rub this in. Now you want to rub this in circular motions. Then you want to go upwards after. You want to go like this and then up. On the package, it only says to go upwards, but in my opinion, I just also like doing circular motions. I think it works better. Now what I'm using is the Wet n Wild Prime Focus Primer Serum. This one with the hydrate and has rose water, watermelon extract and peony, like the flower. I don't know what that does, actually. I don't know what that does. Yeah, this is this. I'm not, and it's scented, so it's not really great for sensitive skin. I don't have a good nose anymore. I can't really smell things very well anymore, but I can still smell this. So, scented wise, it's a little heavy. So, if you don't like scent stuff or certain stuff that breaks you out or something, I wouldn't recommend like that. Now, this, I don't think this has scent. Like I said, I don't have a good nose no more after having COVID like 4 years ago. But I don't think it's scented. I might be wrong, but I don't believe so. I haven't seen people talk about it being scented or anything, but this, it smells like straight watermelon, like extra watermelon gum. It smells straight like watermelon. So if you don't want something like that, I would recommend doing it. Now, I'm spraying this before and after. Now, you don't have to spray. You don't even have to use setting spray. Some people don't think setting spray works. I do, and I like to use mine before and after. But mine is the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Long Wear Setting Spray. I also use a really good like mattifying one is the Wet n Wild one I have. There's also a new dewy one from e.l.f. I don't really know anything about that one though, so I don't know. And my phone's kind of dirty now because I just sprayed it on my face. Did I clean it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna let this kind of dry down a bit. I think you should let all of your skincare sit in though. So I'm going to use color correctors. Now, some people don't, some people do. I use color correctors because I have really dark eye bags. Can't tell. And also because my acne gets really red. So I two different color correctors I'm using. Now for the purple color corrector, in my opinion, is almost useless. So unless you really want to know, I would just look it up. But in my opinion, you don't really do almost anything with purple color corrector. I don't know, it just kind of dulls shine down in some spots. So if you just look shiny in a spot you don't want it, that's all it's for. But I don't really use it much. I've used it literally I use it sometimes as eyeshadow primer. And that's about it. Yeah. You know, like some people use like concealer and all. Yeah. So a peach shade. So the darker skin tone you are, the darker the shade of like orange or peach or whatever. That goes in your under eye bags or really anywhere you want to conceal darkness. Like I have some around my nose, a little bit right here, stuff. A lot of people who have discoloration, you know, like dark spots and all, they will also use that. Green, once again, is for like red spots and all. And then yellow, you're just gonna use to brighten a bit in said spots, like in a spot you want to brighten. Like the purple is for dulling it down, which I don't really feel the need to use the purple one. And I just don't feel like it's that special. Now I'm using a darker shade of orange, but that's just because I have darker under eye bags. I'm using the LA Colors Conceal It, Cover and Correct Concealer. And it just says orange. It doesn't have a specific shade of orange or nothing. It says orange. Now, you don't want to use a lot. That's one mistake I see some people make. You don't really want to use a lot of a color corrector. In fact, even this is a lot for some people. Now, once again, I have pretty dark under eye bags. I don't feel like this is a lot for me. So I'm also going to grab my L'Oreal Paris Double Tool Cover corrections. I'm just gonna grab my green some spots. And then here, now I'm gonna go wet a sponge and I'll be right back. Okay, so I want a beauty blender. Now, I don't use the actual brand name beauty blender because that's really expensive for no reason, in my opinion. I own tons of them. Almost all of them, in my opinion, work the same. So I don't really see a big difference. Now, if you want to blend this out with your fingers or something, you can. I just don't want my fingers really messy right now. So I'm just blending it in with a sponge. Now I've seen some people say that they think it applies better with dry sponge. Thing is though, if you do that, it might soak up a lot of your product. That's one of the reasons why you use your sponge. Also, in my opinion, I think it just applies it smoother with a wet sponge. I don't know. I think it always goes down smoother when it's a wet sponge. But that's whatever. But yeah, I'm just kind of letting this out. You can do it with your fingers. You can do it with a brush. If you do it with a brush, it'll keep more coverage. With your fingers, it's kind of iffy about that. With fingers, it's not much about coverage. Just about application and what you have the time for, what tools you have on you. I don't think, because in my opinion, fingers don't always leave all the coverage, because you absorb things. So, yeah, okay. So now I'm going to use a little tiny baby bit of that yellow one underneath, and then I think that's it for my correcting today. Just going to use some yellow. Now this I am going to blend in with my finger. So I'm just going to... you are meant to mostly tap. Thing is, tapping, I'm lazy. Tapping takes really long. Just continuously tapping the whole time, in my opinion, takes a really long time. So I technically do what you're not supposed to for that. But it's whatever. I think it always comes out around the same. And this is where things get a little confusing. So you can find a lot, and I mean a lot of different things for stuff like foundation. Now this isn't a foundation. This is a tinted moisturizer. I'm running low on it. It also has SPF in it. It's not CoverGirl CG Smoothers BB Cream. It says it's a tinted moisturizer, it has sunscreen, and it has 21 SPF. This is the fair to light shade. This is the lightest shade they have. I usually get the lightest shade they have in things. And so with stuff like that, if they don't have a good shade for you, it's kind of more forgiving in a way because it's a really light coverage. It's not full coverage or nothing. Now with stuff like full coverage, you kind of want to find the closest shade possible to your skin tone. Now, most of the time, you're not going to find your perfect shade. And that's okay. Because if you use something that's way too light, you can use a lot of bronzer or whatever, and then that'll fix that. Or if it's something too dark for you, you can just use a good bit of concealer. Or if you have something that is already a little too light for you, then you can mix those together. Same if something's too light for you, you can mix something that's too dark for you or something. And yeah, I'm using something that's quite light coverage wise today. But so usually stuff that's lighter like this, it's not going to be very matte. It's going to be more like dewy and glowy unless you powder a lot. I use a lot of powder. So now, like I said, you can find full coverage things in both like medium, not medium, but heck, you can find full coverage things in, I keep saying things wrong. You can find dewy and matte things both in foundations. You can also find buildable ones. You can find ones, usually it'll be light to medium buildable or medium to full buildable. Exactly, you can use it for either one. And I lost my lid. Oh well, okay, that's fine. now I'm just gonna blend this sponge real quick, just because. Again, I'll make sure everything looks really nice. Yeah, but and then there's undertones. Undertones are a little tricky. You can have an olive undertone, you can have a cool undertone, you can have a more pinky undertone, you can have a really warm undertone, you can have a really yellow undertone. And then if you're really pale or you're really dark, that's also where things start to become problematic. That's just because a lot of foundation brands, they don't have a whole lot of shades, and I still have the cap of that missing. Where the heck did I put it? Whatever. So now I am going to conceal. With concealer, there's stick ones, there's pot ones, there's cream ones, and they even make some gel ones I've seen. I've never tried that. I don't really want to either. You know, most of the time, except like stick concealers, it's more light coverage. With pot concealers, though, it's usually more full coverage, kind of like the NARS one. Liquid, it's usually either one. That liquid concealer, in my opinion, is almost always buildable. So I am putting a stick concealer on all of my acne. So on all my acne and all in places I'm just a little red, I'm using that. Then on my actual under eye bags, because, you know, I have a little bit more, what should I call it? Oh, a little more darkness in there. I'm using a liquid concealer. The stick concealer I have is L'Oreal Paris True Match. This is the shade Fairlight. It's just the lightest shade yet. Again, I just use the lightest shade of most things because I'm fairly pale and I have bad circulation, so I look kind of ghostly. So if I use something that's too orange, it looks very dark on me, and well, orange, duh. So I have two concealers with me. I have a few concealers, but I only have two concealers with me right now. This is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, and then I also have this one. This is from kind of this. So I'm just gonna use more of this again. This is a buildable concealer, though it's mostly medium coverage. Now some people only, now I use a lot of concealers. I use way too much for the average person. Especially because I like it really, really bright. I want it really bright. So that's about it. You don't need almost any of the amount I'm using now. I'm just putting a lot on. So yeah. And another thing you do is you can let the concealer sit on your face for a bit. The longer you let it sit without blending, the more full coverage it's going to get. Now there is a problem that comes with that though. Sometimes you can do that on accident with something that you didn't know wasn't very blendable, which happens fairly often to people. It's happened to me a few times with a few things I've used, and that's never a fun experience. No, it is not. Because then it's hard to blend. For example, like the Jaclyn Hill concealer, I own that. And it is really full coverage and it's really nice. It's a little too dark for me though, so I kind of use something a little bit lighter over it, or I only use it when it's like summer. But that dries down really fast, and I mean like really fast, so it can cause you some problems. So I would just be kinda wary of that bit. I'm using this just because I kind of want to keep most of the coverage. Now eventually I will blend this out with my sponge, but right now I'm just kind of going in with a brush. I just heard a really weird sound. However, yeah, I'm just going with the brush right now. Big difference. So, I can hear my mama. Yes?
Who are you talking to?
Myself. I'm like, fine. What?
We can cut that one through anything else you got.
Okay. Why are you just staring
I
at
wish
me?
both of y'all would quit talking so much. Where the... Turn the phone off, so leave it here.
She makes things so weird.
So bring that cup back and then we come, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I swear my mom makes things so weird on purpose. She always does this when I'm filming too. Yeah, so that's my under eyes right now. I'm gonna go back in a little with this. Only to make sure you don't see any brush marks or anything. And yeah. So that takes off a little extra to make sure it doesn't crease or anything. Yeah, you can also put some on your lid. I only do if I have extra. I don't really put it on my lid much, but I'll do it for the video. I know a lot of people do. Now with powder. Oh, it's my dog being really loud. Okay. Powder. I have a few powders with me. This menu I'm gonna show though. So I only brought pressed powders with me. But most people use loose powders. Loose powders, it's just kind of basically you twist off the top and then you shake it into another, like you shake it into like the lid or something. Now loose powder can get really messy. I don't use loose powder often also because I like the way my makeup look usually with pressed powder. That's about all. A lot of people bake with like loose powder things. So baking can make your skin look really dry and all that stuff. So baking is really only good in my opinion is if you have like super oily skin. But usually I see people that don't have super oily skin do it. It's just people that do it because it looks cool, I guess. Though I don't really think that's a good idea. So you can also use stuff like foundation powder. It's like a powder foundation. Or instead, if you want to use a little more coverage, I'm just using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte Poreless. It is, it's the lightest shade, but yeah. So I'm just kind of powdering all over the face, and I'm about to do part 2 to this video in a second. I figured I should just do them all kind of in one sitting. Yeah, I also like to feel, make sure everything's very like powdery. I don't want anything sticky, and everything is all nice and matte. I'm gonna make part 2 of this video, so peace out.